Ciao, Michelle. Welcome to WOW podcast for the special occasion of WOW Festival. So I'm very curious to know about your book. Actually, you told me about it, but I would like to know more. So if you can introduce yourself and give us a little overview what you do for women especially.
Great. So as you mentioned, I'm Michelle Watson, and I'm a multi-award winning speaker, best-selling author, but I'm also a mentor and coach, and I work with a group called the Iconic Women, and it's really about women connecting with themselves, but more importantly, how they're showing up out there, how they're representing themselves in the business world, and really looking at not just having ideas, but implementing them. And so what I've kind of done, it's almost like I've packaged my journey, if that makes sense. So obviously I have had the experience of the personal development world, writing books, creating multiple businesses. And so I thought it would be very good to create a community where all of this is put in place, because I realized that some women, they don't get very far in when they started their business, mainly because they've not done work on themselves as well. And so I think it's very important. So what I've created is a hub where all of these elements are within it, but also the support that they need. But my journey started off working with women. And I've kind of done a 360, because I went from working with women to then writing books, as you were asking, what is this book about? And so this book really gives a bit of insight into my story, but then it also is helping other people that want to write their books and use it as a marketing tool for their business to be seen as the authority in their field or expert in their field. And so that is what this book is about.
Yeah, so it's fantastic because you're talking about authority, how to write your business book and use it as a marketing tool.
Yes.
But because we are celebrating Women in Business for the International Women's Day and all the month around there, so what is really the element that you think should come across in a business, in a book for the woman in order to be able to be a marketing tool? What is really the thing that can make
one of the things that I always say is you know me already, I'm all about authenticity. And one of the things that you really want to show is your story. You want to firstly showcase your story, because somebody wants to know, why is it that I want to work with this individual? And being able to show your expert positioning story, how you got to where you are now, and showing a bit of the journey of the route that you took to get there, it allows somebody else to resonate with you. And somebody else can look at it and say, this sounds like the individual that will be able to help me get to where I want to be, or their story sounds a bit familiar. The other thing that I always say that is very important about putting inside a book, if you want to be seen as an expert, is focusing on what I call NDP. The needs, desires, and pain points of your clients. But before you can do that, you firstly need to know who your client is.
Sure.
And so a lot of people miss it. They're like, oh yeah, I want to do this, or I want to become this. And they start preparing content and doing all of these great things. But then it's almost like a shop filled with goodies, but nobody's coming to buy. Why? Because you didn't firstly have clarity around who my ideal avatar is, who is my target market. And so you need to do the same thing when you're writing a business book, having firstly the clarity that this is not a passion book. It's not an autobiography. What's wrong with my words today?
Yeah.
But it's a business book that you're using to attract clients.
Sure.
And so as a woman, you need to look at, if you're going into business, who am I serving? How am I serving them? What are the pains, the needs that they have? What are the desires that they have? And what are the pain points? Because those are the three areas that you really want to be crafting your content around.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
It is fantastic because, as you know, in the program of WOW, we are touching the four natural elements. And for winter time, we are celebrating the earth connection, which is the connection with our roots, with the food, and what is really making us nurturing our being in order to grow. So what would you see as for a woman being a human, which is basically giving away all the resources more than sometimes nurturing them? What is really the thing that you think, the seed that the woman shouldn't forget about in order to nurture herself, having the connection with her own earth connection?
I think what is very important, or what I tend to forget, is that it's not about me. I think you have to come to a place of realizing that your gift, your story, your whole being is not necessarily just about you. It's about the other. It's about the lives that you're touching. And I love the fact that you always talk about the connection, because it's being able to connect with yourself that will then allow you to connect with others and allow it to flow from you and through you to others. And so I believe that that is what is very, very important. And I had to get to a place of taking the spotlight off myself. I know that we have two big spotlights looking at us, but I had to take the spotlight off of myself and realize that, because when the light is on you, there's so many flaws that you see and you think, I can't show up this way. Or there's so many things about you that you think doesn't have the capacity to go out there and shine for others. But if you take the time to put that aside and make the people that you want to help more important than the so-called flaws, then you're able to push past those. And so I would say, forget the flaws, what you look at as flaws, and more importantly, focus on your why, the people that you want to help. And that is why I'm saying at the beginning, you have to have that why.
Absolutely. And in your book, so you talk about authority. You said in order to become an expert, it's seen as an expert. So again, is the connection with your passion and what you are ready or willing to give to the world? Yeah.
Definitely.
So how is the journey in this book, how is it structured in order to helping women to understand how to, first of all, buy the book and know more about, for their growth of authority?
For me, I think one of the first things that would really capture the reader is my story. When they hear my story and the journey of where I've come from, I believe it will enable them to recognize, like, if she can do it, I can do it. My story, some of my stories speaks about going through domestic abuse, suicidal tendencies, attempting suicide, parenting a child with special needs, and being able to come from that journey and be the person that I am now, because there was a time when I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe anymore in my purpose, my passion. And as I always say this term, I almost killed this girl. Right? The person that I am today, I almost killed her before she got to this place. And so the reason why that is so important for somebody to look at is because they may be in a place right now where they're thinking it's not possible for me, because I was there. They may be in a place where they're thinking, is there any good that's left within me? And so for a woman to be able to see that will help them to get from where they are to stepping into their authority and recognizing that there's so much more deeper within me than the lies that I'm possibly telling myself, right? So that's one of the first things that they will recognize, but they will see the journey. And I think that's what's important. They need to see the journey, because they're so used to seeing everybody at where they are now. They see what they see as the perfect life. They see the success, but what they don't see is the backstory. Yeah. And I believe that every glory has a backstory. And so it's very, very important. I think that is the most crucial bits to this book. Yes, it will show them the different ways of how to write that book, get the story out, and get their books published. But the real source or the real seed of importance there is that story.
Fantastic. What would be one keyword, and if you can look straight into the camera, for you, which is going to be your word for 2024, which can inspire women to grow and seed and nurture themselves?
Well, my word for this year is implementation. And the reason why I say implementation is because information is great, but without implementing that information, it's of no value and it's of no use. And I believe that if we take enough time to stop thinking and start doing, then you will be able to see the results. So maybe you've spent 2023 thinking about your vision, thinking about the many goals and the different things that you want to achieve. Well, why not make this year be about implementing those things, binning the negative thoughts, binning the many reasons why you think it would not be possible. Actually implement, because here's the thing, you cannot edit a blank page. You cannot edit a blank page. So you may be sitting with procrastination because you want it to be perfect, but you cannot edit it until you've started. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much, Michelle. See you next time.
Ciao.